All right, we're going.
Oh, don't have that on there.
Please have it on there.
Do not have that on there. That's
it
an
all on
absolute
there.
no. Anyway, welcome everybody to this episode of Today with Jared James. This is my favorite way of doing this. I am not, as Celine Dion would call it, all by myself. I'm joined by Miss Linda Yacoub. So
Hello.
say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Baby.
Yeah, we got Tom over there.
Yellow.
I called him the Jamie of the podcast, but he doesn't know what that means because he doesn't listen to podcasts.
I do not.
We just found out this is the only podcast.
Yeah, this is the
Listen to,
only-
which is the right answer.
Not that we're cult leaders. This is the only podcast you should be listening to. Tom just got back from obviously the cruise.
Yeah.
I just got back from both doing a trip. We'll talk a little bit about that all over California, but also Tulum with my guys, catching a little sun, having a great time. Honestly, I slept better than that's a crazy thing. I think people hear guys trip and they think that it's just party hardy, whatever. And it's I talked to you, I was getting more sleep. It was awesome. I would leave the doors. I had an oceanfront room, and so I would leave the doors open with the screen door shut, and you got the wind blowing in, and you hear the waves and whatever. And it was just nice just to kind of – I'm at the point in my life, it's this really weird thing where it's not about how late can I go to bed. It's how early can I get into bed. That is a great night. Not that there's not the occasional fun. I think we had one night that we were out past midnight. It's just something about just feeling refreshed the next day, that is just it's an absolutely beautiful thing. And now I've come back to the realities of being a teenage dad, where my nights now are just full-time driving them around.
Is teenage dad kind of make it sound like that you're a teenager, but dad?
That's a
Dad
good point.
to teenagers.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That sounds like you're
Wait a minute.
Like teen mom.
Do you think you're a teenager? Because if you do, there's some
You meant like
problems
teen
here.
mom. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that. No,
No,
I was saying
a dad to teenagers.
Yeah,
yes.
we're every week this week has just been me meeting my boys' girlfriends and dropping them off and not girlfriends plural. They have one
good
each.
save. Good save.
As we know.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as
Your
we know.
your children are
And
thanking
as
you
far as
right
they know.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Although I met one for the first time, and I was like, Grayson, number 3 this week. Can I
Nice.
have a break?
Nice.
Can I have a break? And they were watching The Notebook, and I said, again,
Oh, yeah.
you've already done this with 2 other girls this week.
Well,
You don't have to impress
we know
them.
what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, don't act like you haven't seen it, bud. You were down there laying with another girl watching it last night, He didn't seem as appreciative of that. And the funny thing is the girls are like, is he kidding? They don't know me. So they're just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
It's there's some gullibility that goes on in a teenage girl's head. But we've had kind of a big week. This is a big day for you,
Big week, yeah.
Miss Newsmaker.
And for you, Mr. Newsmaker.
Yeah. Linda was named a newsmaker as an achiever for RIS Media, I should say. Just claiming her spot where she belongs. And,
thank you.
It detailed a lot of things as far as what you had done with, with what happened with your old company and how you started FyrstUp and have been kind of steering that and making major deals. I don't know what deals we're allowed to mention yet or not, what's public and what's not, so I'll allow you to kind of say what that is, but we've made some major deals.
Yeah.
And for me personally, you're right, I got named on there too. I honestly, I don't care what, it's just it's like a... I'm way
It's
more...
an honor for you.
100%, yeah, but I'm
Absolutely.
way more excited about you being on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I expected. I mean, I did not expect this whatsoever. You think of what I've been through over the past, I don't know how long.
I'm going to feel bad when she finds out that we're punking her, that wasn't real.
I'm not supposed to belong here
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this dinner?
It
What
was
do you mean?
Photoshop, baby. That wasn't real, yeah.
No, I mean, looking back in the past 6 months, past year, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy with how much of a whirlwind that I've kind of gone through. We've gone through together. The company's gone through how many pivots we've had to make.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, startup's not for everyone, and the ability to get up and redo something again and pivot and continue to focus and not be, distracted with a whole bunch of things around you is difficult. But to be recognized and have others recognize this is it does feel good.
Do you know what's been one of the coolest things for me? I know this isn't something we're going to talk a lot about today, but one of the coolest things for me has been, because, we started this from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Is
We're
very
talking
simple.
about FyrstUp.
Yeah, FyrstUp.
specifically, yeah.
FYRSTUP. Every brokerage in North America and beyond should be using it with their agents. Very affordable, huge ROI. But one of the features, we digitized the traditional whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
And what used to be on those whiteboards, when all the agents would gather around the whiteboard, and they'd know what was coming on and what was whatever. But one of the coolest features came from one of our clients, the number one Century 21 in the world, Dan Cruz, when he was asking us, they're signing up with their brokerage, and he's like, hey, we need an open house feature. And we're all like gung-ho, like, no. Like, look, we're not a CRM. Like, we get a million suggestions on everything we should do.
Yeah.
And Dan's just like, Jared, I get it, but like open houses are on the whiteboard. And I'm like, good point. So we start thinking about it. One of the coolest things for me has been in this journey of now we're launching all these brokerages and doing all this stuff and everything. It's like the most popular feature was one we didn't have on there and didn't think was going to be a big deal, which is the open house feature. Because obviously we allow people in a compliant manner to put their listings on there. It notifies their whole office pre-market in a completely compliant manner. And you got buyer matching. They have the buyers on there. They're doing deals prior in a compliant manner, all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden this open house feature where you can put open houses on and you can say needs a host. And now you're serving your top agents, because now they're able to get people to service their listings. But then you're also getting those newer agents or the agents who don't have business who are now claiming open houses to go and do those. And the thing that I understood, but I just didn't think about it this in depth, and why it's been such a big deal to the brokerages we've worked with, that's their most profitable transaction.
Oh, absolutely.
So while, yes, they need to service their top agents who have all the listings and everything else, the reason why I think it's been such a big deal for our brokerages to have that open house feature where you have people who, you're not putting it in a Facebook group or a group text where nobody sees it, but now you have the people who need business that you're now creating business for them to get out in front of people and do open houses and claim it. That's the most profitable transaction for them, because their newer agents, the ones who weren't doing as much business, are on the lower percentages. And I didn't even think of that. And so what's been cool for me is through this whole process, it's like the feature that we didn't even have originally is the most popular feature now.
But you know why though? Like the whole entire app itself was an idea from an agent. We've tested with agents, and I say this all the time.
Yeah.
We tested
Yeah.
that idea
And
with
that came
agents.
from a broker.
I mean, all we did was listen to agents.
That's it.
Took their pain point,
Yeah.
implemented it, and made sure that it was so streamlined and stupid simple
Yeah.
for them to use to reduce time spent.
Yeah.
But also to help generate business. Like
Right.
that's all we did. We listened to agents, and then we took that. We kind of, C21, his pitch to us came from whom? All of his Southern California agents.
There you go. Yeah.
They are wanting this. They are needing this. Why? And so we tested it, and we made sure that we were listening to them. Could you imagine if every tech tool out there was really based on consumer pain points?
Oh, but Linda,
And,
that
like,
brings up
agent
a
pain
whole other thing though. Like I'm listening to you say this, and I'm going, yeah, very true, very true. But if you also listened to all of your people, listen to
yes.
all of your consumers, listen to all of your clients, listen to all your whatever, you very quickly would have a tool that has way too many things.
But this is
that
why you
isn't
always go back
adoptable.
to what? You go back to your mission and vision.
Well, this is what I was about to say.
Your
I was about to
mission.
call it the North Star.
Yes.
Is that you have to understand the North Star. You have to understand the mission, because if we personally listen to every single point of feedback and every suggestion that comes in, we would build another CRM.
Absolutely.
And
I
I've
get that.
already done that. And then what you would have is this really shiny tool that functions as a CRM that none of your agents will actually use, And so for us, I think when we look at our North Star and we said digitizing the traditional whiteboard, everything filters through that.
Absolutely.
And so when we get all these suggestions, like we do all the time, we got one the other day from someone, great suggestion. And they were like, well, what if our agents were able to message everyone in the office and say, I need an open house, or do you have this coming on? And I'm like, wait a second now. The whole point of our app is that literally every notification is crucial. Every one of them means something. Every notification is a listing coming on you want to know about, or a buyer match, or
Their business
something like that.
opportunities. Yeah.
The whole reason that your people are not paying attention to your Facebook group or your group text message, it's so funny how the reason why those are not working, it shows you how much people are just addicted to familiarity. Because as soon as you come back into this world of, and we've heard it from broker after broker, right? and if that's not working, that's why we need a new tool. They immediately point towards, and they don't even realize it, the thing that made those things not work because they're used to them. And credit to, I won't name the name right now, but the broker we dealt with yesterday who's about to launch in a couple different markets and whatever, when he brought that up and I said that to him, I was like, hey, the problem with that is that now all of your agents are going to be getting notifications from other agents in your office, and they're going to abuse that tool to be able to message each other back and forth, whatever. That's what your Facebook group is. That's what your group text is. That's why nobody's using it.
Absolutely.
The moment we allow that, we become those things again. And so us understanding our North Star helps us put our decision making through the prism of, does it fit that? Is that traditional white? Is that whatever? And so there's two things at play here. One is, yes, you need to listen to your people. You need to listen to your customer. You need to listen to. But part of listening is also having the wisdom to decipher between that should be done, that should not. And one of the things that I see right now, just in brokerage overall, tech overall, whatever, is that we create things that are so flashy and so whatever that they're just not usable. They're pretty.
There's just too many bells and whistles.
It's the hot girl that once you get into a relationship with her, you're like, what am I doing? Like, this was much better from the outside. Now I realize you are not fun to talk to. You have no, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's,
yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, but like in general, like that's the thing,
And I think I've experienced that sitting in an MLS chair. I've been able to look at an MLS where it's the bread and butter of business.
Yeah.
And I see all of these tools and that you could do.
Yeah.
That no one touches, and they only do what? They list.
Yeah.
On there, and they look.
They check the box. Look what we got. Look what we got. Look what we got. And that's what most brokerages are doing. And in a world where agents will jump around from place to place because they're not using anything that's sticky, they're not doing anything that actually creates real value for that agent to be there that nobody else is offering. That that nobody else can offer. And we'll do that on another podcast about the scarcity we're creating.
You make a great point. So people are now wanting to turn off notifications because it's been abused, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it, everyone's using it. But it's also the same exact thing with agents when they hear a new tool's being launched.
Yeah.
What is their first the first thing in their head is like, oh great, another tool that we have to launch.
Exactly right.
In our toolbox.
That's right.
And so now what we're trying to do is reverse all that.
Yeah.
No, notifications have to be on because there's only 3 that you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
And that means there's opportunity.
Tools are important. If
right?
you're a buyer's agent, you need a car.
Yes. And this tool you're going to need because we actually don't want you on there as much.
That's right.
All we need is this and this, and that's it. We'll do all the heavy lifting. So now we're trying to shift their mindset to turn on notifications.
Yes. Every notification matters.
You have to use the app because this is what's going to build your business.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So it's interesting.
I love it when you say to people.
It's super interesting.
I love it when you say, like, every app, they brag about how long people are on the app. And we're like, no. We want you on there 30 to 60 seconds or less. That's it.
If you're on there more, then we're not doing our job.
The role of technology is to free you up to do the things you should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
Once it becomes more than that, and now it's taking up all your time, it's keeping you from doing the things you should have been doing all along, which is contact to contact, person to person, making transactions, making anything that brings you outside of that is a distraction.
Yeah.
And again, wisdom in deciphering what the difference is. So anyway, that's been really cool.
Very fun.
I went and did some events. I've been on like a 3-month break, everybody. And I don't mean like 3-month retirement, like I'm not working. I'm still working a ton, but I wasn't doing events. I just said no to everything. In the last podcast,
no traveling.
On the last podcast, we talked about this. And I said, look, saying no to something means saying yes to something else and vice versa. In the last 3 months, I've been on a real break. And the reason I've been on that break from travel and doing events is because there's so much going on right now. And there are so many distractions that I needed to know what I really thought. We live in a world right now where wisdom is needed, like voices are needed. And I'm lucky enough to be in a position where a lot of people will listen to my voice. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to do event after event after event after event after event, and I never stop and think about what I actually think. And I become a caricature of what I used to be, right? And because I take that because I think that's so important and I take that so serious, that's what I've been doing, is figuring out what do I think right now? What is the message people need to hear right now? What do they need to hear from me right now during this time? And really, that's what I've been doing, because I think right now we live in a world with so many distractions that everything that pops up new every other day, everybody thinks it's the main thesis. And it's not. Most people right now don't know the difference between the sentence and the paragraph. You know, they think the sentence is the main point when the sentence is a supporting factor in the paragraph, in the story. And most people right now don't know the difference between a sentence and a paragraph. And so what I'm doing is I step back and I go, no. This other stuff is important. That's important. That's important. I get it. But they all lead to this. This is the narrative. This is the story. This is what we need to be looking at. And so many people right now are so locked up in every other thing that everyone tells them they're supposed to care about that they don't know the difference between a sentence and a paragraph, if that makes any sense. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been stepping back and just kind of looking at everything and watching it unfold so that when I start hitting the road, I have something to say. And when I start hitting the road, my voice actually, I deserve to have people listen to it as they've decided to, right? And so when we just went and did a few different events in California, and we were launching FyrstUp with some companies, we were launching my coaching with some companies. I got a chance in kind of a small setting to just kind of like talk out loud. I mean, I guess you call it speaking.
Kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, it was just kind of cool to kind of like, you and I were pulling up, and I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about. I don't know. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, we're out of time. Shoot. Like I need to, because you realize all of that thinking you've been doing, I'm watching it unfold now. And jokes are coming in and connections and how that works with that and how that, whatever. And so that's kind of what I've been doing. And now I'm going to, God, I can't believe this. Next week, in less than a week, I leave for Portugal. I'm going to do 121 Portugal. And we've got people coming from Portugal and Spain and other non-English speaking countries that I can't remember.
Everyone is on a delay.
Oh, it's so interesting. People are like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. And I'm like, it's so interesting because doing other countries is a performance, meaning everything's a performance. We know that, right? But
It's a different skill, honestly.
It's performance with no feedback. Because in other countries, what happens is everybody's on a 7-second delay, a 5 to 7 second delay, and you get no response. You just need to, it was like COVID taught me a lot about performing for Zoom, where there is no, and it's so funny because if you're not careful, you'll be thinking like, am I bombing right now? Like, is this not going well?
Can they not get my joke?
Is this happening? Like, what's going on right now? And then you go out in like the walkways and the hallways, and it's like, the Beatles showed up, and you're like, well, where were you 20 minutes ago when I could have used a clap or I could have used, whatever. And so it's an interesting experience. I know it's a beautiful country.
But how rewarding. That's going to be fun just to go and
see, that's what I mean. I don't do it like that. I don't look at it like
I'm
fun at all.
not saying fun that you're going to go and nightlife. It's fun to be able to say, I mean, the fact that you're able to go to Portugal and stand there and speak in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and have influence. Yeah. That is what I think is fun.
Oh, that's cool. Looking back, that's cool. That's rewarding.
That's what I love.
I wish like you were there, or like my boys were with me, or like something like that, because then I would actually go experience the place I'm at.
Absolutely.
Whereas for me, people are always like, oh, it's so much fun. Oh my God, you get to whatever. And I'm like, guys, it's airport, hotel, convention center. Airport, hotel, convention center. Like it is, I'm going to be in the middle of a room in Portugal. Like I'm going to be in my hotel room. Yeah. Like that's what you know what I mean? Like, but if I had someone with me, if I had, look at it. I was just in Tulum with my guys. So we actually go out and we like go to restaurants, we go to whatever. Whereas when I was in Mexico preparing for the advance, when I went on my own, I left early. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to go home now. Because it's different when you have someone with you and you can experience and you can, but anyway, so I'm going to start getting back out and doing that, and got other events coming up as well. I'm not doing, I think we've talked about this, I'm not doing nearly as many of events as previous years, just by choice. My
also because of budget cuts. You've seen this, not with us, large brands.
Yeah, that's not why for me. Kat will tell you. Like we're still getting plenty of
I call Kat the Oz.
Kat, the Oz, the great Oz behind the curtain, my assistant. That's not stopped us. Meaning, like I'm still getting tons of event invites.
Absolutely.
Yes, events have had major budget cuts, and it's amazing to me some of the major events that I've done for years that don't even invite you this year, and then you see their agenda, and you're like, so who did you bring in?
Well, quite honestly,
and they wonder why their numbers are down, and it's like, you are staying away from doing a speaker fee for this person, which amounts to this amount. You're charging $500, $600, $700 a ticket. There is a certain number of people who, no matter what, are going to go to your event. But then there's the fringe. It's like voting for politics. There's a certain number, no matter what happens, this is what they do. But then there's the people who are kind of like, I can be swayed, and they look at the agenda. And a lot of them, I know this because they send me messages, and they're like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? And they look at the agenda, and they go, I'm not spending $700 to just hear a bunch of other people from my area talk about, whatever they want. They're going there for a show. They want to see the people they watch online. They want to see the people and meet the people that they look up to. And so many of these events right now are just, they're budget cutting so bad that it works against their interest, because while you're not wanting to pay that person that fee, when you look at the number of tickets that aren't being purchased because people are looking at the agenda and going, not worth it. And so they think they're looking, it's backwards. They're going, this is our budget. And they're looking at expense rather than income as far as what you could be bringing in. And that's backwards, you know? And so, that is a definite thing that's happening.
It was interesting because when we were launching FyrstUp in those markets, several agents and brokers were like, you're not on the agenda. Are you going to be at this event? Are you going to be at this event?
Yeah, are you going to this? Are you going to that? Are you going to whatever?
I'm Portugal. I'll be over here. But it was super interesting. But
I won't name any names right now, but I get that all the time right now. How come I don't see you on the agenda for blank? How come you're not at blank? How come you're not at, it's like,
everyone decides based on an agenda. Like that's the reason. I mean, when I was an MLS exec, I would look at the agenda, look at the breakout sessions. Is it worth going? When do I go? When should I jump in? Yeah. Everyone does that.
And to me, it's like, it's such an important time to have voices at these things, like to actually, look, we all know it. I've got voices that I listen to and I look up to. You have voices you look up to and listen to. Tom's got voices and like they can say the same thing as someone else, but because they say it, it matters more. And it's so backwards right now because this is not the time to not be bringing in those voices. This is the time when those agents need to hear those voices. They go there to be motivated. They go there to be trained. They go, like, take something as simple as like these lawsuits, the commission lawsuits.
Yeah.
And my message the last 3 years is pros versus amateurs, pros versus amateurs, pros versus amateurs. And I had a guy ask me the other day, he's like, so what is your take on these lawsuits from a pros versus amateurs mentality? And I said, it's pretty simple. He's like, because most people in the marketplace don't even know about these lawsuits. They don't even know. Most, he goes, I saw your video the other day and you're so right. Like most of the people in the marketplace, their consumers don't even know about them, but some do. So he's like, what's your take on a pros versus amateurs? How does a pro handle that versus how does an amateur handle that? And I said, it's pretty simple. Amateurs make it a big deal for people that don't even care about it, while pros make people who know about it not even care. So think about that for a second.
Not even sway them.
Amateurs make it a big deal for people who don't even care about it, right? Pros make people who do know about it not even care. That's the difference. So when I say what's the difference between pros versus amateurs, now let's break that down. What does that really mean? Okay, you look at the commission lawsuits, you look at most consumers don't even know that they exist, don't know what they mean, don't know. So a pro is ready, willing, and able to discuss, but they don't make things big deals that aren't big deals to the people in front of them. It's like I was talking to someone the other day who had, they had an accent, and they said to me, Jared, I feel like this is affecting my real estate business. Now, they did it in a different way, but they said, how do I get over this? How do I overcome this? I said, the answer's simple. You overcome it. Nobody cares. You just said it yourself. How do I overcome it? You overcome it. Your people don't care. We teach them what to care about. So when we talk about these commission lawsuits and we say what matters, what doesn't matter, how does a pro handle it versus how does an amateur deal with it? An amateur makes it a big deal for people who don't even care about it. A pro, for people who do know about it, makes them not even care because they understand how to communicate, how to talk about it, how to talk about their value proposition, how to talk about all of that stuff. We talked about it. Look, back to FyrstUp, the broker we were talking to yesterday. Buyer agency is a thing again. you know? And whether it's the law in your state and you're in your province or in your area or not to get a buyer agency signed or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're going to need to get it signed now.
Yeah.
How do you fight amongst all these people, other agents, and say that you're better, you've got an advantage by being with you because I'm going to work hard, I've got access to the MLS? There's no different. You're all the same now. So what do? Right? With FyrstUp, we're able to tell people, imagine you go to a buyer and you're like, hey, you're going to get everything everybody else gets, access to the MLS, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to whatever. But you're going to have access to a proprietary list of sellers nobody else has access to. It's what every buyer wants in this
powerful.
marketplace.
Yeah.
You mean there's a chance I won't be up against 57 offers? There's not saying it 100% of the time will always do that, but I am going to have access to the proprietary list of sellers in a completely compliant manner that nobody else in my area has access to. That's powerful.
Absolutely.
So when we talk pros versus amateurs, it's not just what you know. An amateur can't wait to tell you what they know. They literally are dying to tell you what they know, you know? And that's why I said amateurs make it a big deal. They make people care about it who didn't care about it. Pros, for people who do already know about it, they make them not care.
Yeah.
Because of the way they can communicate and explain and break it down in a way that you're not going to see on CNBC, you know? And that's the difference when we talk about this world that we're living in right now. This is when we talk about pros versus amateurs. This is where you find out who's just been talking and posting on Instagram, and then who are the real pros, okay? Pros don't make big deals about things that aren't big deals to the people who are in front of them, you know? That's somebody who's insecure and wants to show you how much they know. And in an effort to show you how much they know, you end up saying no, right? You're making people say no who never would have said no. But you're a pro. No, you're not. You know, it's like somebody who runs around and tells everybody they're the boss. I'm the boss here. In my experience, if you got to tell everybody you're the boss, you're not the boss. You know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah, absolutely. Or they don't appreciate you like one.
Yeah,
one or
you
the
don't have
other,
to.
Right?
I mean,
you don't have that respect.
We saw that with my dog the other day. Grayson was joking around, my son, and you know, dog won't come in, and he's telling me, he's like, I don't understand why he doesn't listen to me. He knows I'm the boss. He goes, would you tell him to come in? He knows I'm the boss. I said, he knows you're the boss. Tell him to come in. He doesn't listen to me. You might not be the boss. You know, he may love you as his brother.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves you. You're not the boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's you can't fake that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
anyway, pros, amateurs.
Crazy. It's what you've been preaching for 3 years, and it's like, okay, let's do it again.
Gonna keep
do it
preaching
again.
it. Gonna keep preaching it because it's just
it's
just true. Like even as I'm saying that, isn't it funny how like this sounds bad, but it's just true. It's just true though. It's just so true. Like
what's true, Jared?
It's like the stuff. Sometimes the stuff we say isn't just for other people.
Yeah.
It sounds so bad, but it's just true. We learn from ourselves.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's like sometimes, you know, as I'm saying this, my head starts going, and I'm thinking about situations, and I'm thinking about potential partnerships we have, and I'm thinking about whatever, and I'm just going like, oh, we need to change that up. We got to do that different. Oh, I shouldn't have done that way. I should do it this way. And it's like, it's what's true is true. You know, like we don't talk about this stuff because we're perfect and we have it all down and we have, you know, whatever. It's just like sometimes you're teaching yourself at that moment. You're just going, got it. Talking to myself right now. That makes sense. I saw a thing, a major influencer I know, an entrepreneur, not that I know, but I know of. And he's like, you know, all this stuff you guys read that I put out on Threads and I put out on X, known as Twitter, whatever. He's like, you don't understand. These are my thoughts to myself all day. He's like, you all are telling me how much I've helped you, how much I've whatever. He's like, you don't understand. I'm putting it out because I have to write it, think about it, and send it. And he's like, I'm saying it to myself. I'm teaching myself.
That's what they say also. Like putting it down on paper allows you to make it stick, and then implementing it. It's like, there's like so many factors, but yeah, you are very much right. Yeah. Like in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing world. Amazing.
I have to say, and I don't say this just because I'm your lady, but every time I hear you talk like about pro versus amateurs, I pull like a nugget out every single time, and I don't even sell real estate. But the stuff that you say and that just kind of like spitball, like when you just talk and roll, are always different. Although you've been preaching it for 3 years.
Yeah.
it's always different everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's a new sentence in the paragraph. It's like even what we're talking about right now and what I said about, the difference between pros versus amateurs, where, amateurs make it a big deal for people who didn't care, whereas pros, who it is a big deal for, make them not care. That's spitballing. And as I'm saying it, I'm going, that's so right.
Yeah.
That's so right. Because we've all seen that. We've all seen that professional that just wants to show how much they know, and they create more problems than, like I said, that's another, by the way, I almost want to write that down.
Yeah.
In an effort to show them how much they know, they make the customer say no. Think about that. That is in any industry, when you get so far ahead of yourself, when your goal is more about ego and showing how good you are and how much you have to teach everybody and train everybody, how much better you are, and it becomes above servicing the client, what happens is that in an effort to show everybody how much you know, you in the end make someone who wasn't going to say no, say no. Wow.
Crazy.
I've never said that. I've never thought of that, but it's so freaking true. Mm-hmm. And I need to write that down. So Tom, make sure we, because that's being said from the stage.
Yeah.
Because that's so true. You could talk about that for a half hour. It's like remove yourself from we call it servicing clients, servicing. Mm-hmm. Who are we servicing? Are we servicing our egos? Or are we servicing the people in front of us? Because servicing the people in front of us means it looks different every single time.
Absolutely. Some people, you talk about social presence. You talk about this a lot, and it's like, be out there, be in front, be the source.
Yeah.
But you have to pick your noise, pick your voice.
Yeah.
What is it that you want to be known for?
Yeah.
And not get those no's and get yeses instead.
And how do and servicing someone's different every time. What does it look like for you? What situation are you in? What do you need from me? What do you look, if you're in real estate, you wear a lot of different hats. But if you go in there with the same hat every time, you're gonna be able to help some people, then you're gonna have a whole group of people you're like, I just didn't connect with. I don't understand. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that whatever? And it's because, you went in as the unchangeable, thinking that's what you needed to be in this moment. And yet they needed some liquidity from you. They needed you to be able to move as you needed to, and look at their situation and listen more than you talked and figure out what their actual need is. And that's where trust is built, But I think sometimes when you do things over and over and over and over again, God, this goes back to that line where it's like the more I learn, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know. And there's so much power in that statement, because the older I get, and I'm not, 7 years ago, I'm not like old like that, but I'm old enough to have been around enough time to start to see those phrases and just be so true. Like, you don't feel that. How many times do I tell you, I can't stand being around people who feel like they're in a peeing contest, a pissing contest? I'm like, you win. I don't care. Because I'm literally at a point in my life where I'm like, I don't care. And so when you say that statement, the more that you know, the more you realize you don't know, there's something not only so humbling about that, but also so strong. Mm-hmm. There is strength in knowing that, because you realize how much you know. And then you realize, my God, there's so much more. And then you feel empathy for how much people don't know, how much they think they know. It's like a teenager who thinks they've got the world by the horns now and they know everything. We all thought that when we were teenagers. And then you start getting older and older and older, and you're like, oh, maybe I didn't. That's why teenage girls hate their moms, but by the time they're 25, they're best friends. After a while, they're like, you know what, Mom knew something. Holy crap, wow, look at that. She wasn't stupid. I didn't know, whatever. And so for me personally, it's actually empowering to understand how much I don't know. It doesn't put aside how much I do know. I know that I know stuff. But, man, the more I know, the more I realize there's so much to learn. There's so many things to learn and get better from. And that's that balance between, confidence and humility. It's like I'm confident. You know me. I'm fully confident. Like I know what I know, and I know, that I'm not an idiot, and I know that I have certain gifts, and I have certain, and so do you, and so does Tom, whatever. But the humility is the side of realizing, just how far you have to go and how much you can still learn and how much still just flows out when you leave yourself open to that. Mm-hmm. And it's just that constant, balance between those two things that I think allows us to grow, leaves us open to grow. Yeah. Leaves us open to how much we just don't know. You grow by realizing how much you don't know.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Jared James.
Wait, we'll turn that into a boomerang. Yeah. We'll turn that into
There you go.
Yeah, we'll turn that into a boomerang.
So you're
or
back from
something.
your 3 months. You kind of hit the road next, and the first thing major you're doing really is overseas. So there you go.
I know. And
And you go right back into conventions, and then
I know. Yeah. But I'm still, again, not doing as many as I was in the past because my schedule now is being determined by, I got kids in high school, and you realize what you don't know the more you know. Like, you realize the more time you spend with your kids, how much little time you have left.
yeah.
You know, there's that old thing, when a kid graduates high school, you will have spent 97% of your time with them.
I mean, how do you feel right now that your son's like touring college campuses? He just went on one yesterday, right? It's kind of.
They walked into, you and I were at trivia night last night, and they walked in, and and we saw the bartender, the friend of ours, the girl, and she was just like, "Those are your boys?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
And they're driving home right now.
They're driving home. They're like men.
Yeah.
You know, they're good-looking boys, and they're strapping, and you know, they're you're like, yeah, that's what's happening here. These are grown men who still get into bed with me, and curl up like they're 8 months old, which I still love, you know. But it's it's an interesting dynamic. But my point is that, you know, you get to a place where you realize, again, all of that stuff you've read and seen is just so true. I'm not going to let it be true, but when they say 97% of your time you will ever spend with your children ends by the time they finish high school, I know that it's true, but I won't allow it to be true for me, just because of my relationship with them and what I'll do. But it does now dictate to me, you know, what I do with my schedule. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like there was a time in my life where I'm like, go, all around, do whatever, you know, all those kinds of things. And I still do a lot of that, but I first look at the schedule, and I look at what do they have coming up, and what am I not going to miss, and what's a non-negotiable.
I think that's
and
one thing.
How much time am I home? Because I don't want to be home for 2 days, gone 3 days, gone. I want quality time where we are doing I don't want time where it's just like, Dad's in town, let's do an honorary dinner, good to see you, and then I'm all like, I want boring time. I want make your lunch time. You know, I want pick you up from the gym time. I want boring time.
But you want true quality time.
I want to be together so much you're tired of being
It's like
with me.
it's like what I say with you. I want to be in your breathing space.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be together. But I think you and I mean, I know you and I do a really good job at that. When it comes to the calendar, it's like, got the kids, we're doing this. Ari has a event this date. Ty has a soccer game this date. Competition over here.
Yeah.
Same thing with you. And our whole entire life is
Yeah.
around our kids' schedule.
Yeah.
And-
You always crack me up though when you get here. You like take a sigh, like, and you're just like,
Oh, it's my
I'm
favorite.
home. You're like,
And what's the first thing I ask? When is Grayson's soccer game? Is he having any games?
When are we doing? Yeah,
What are we doing
no.
here?
Yeah, no.
Are we doing any dinner?
No, yeah.
But it's
like
our
you
life is-
you become like a different person. Like, you're like all these different things you have and like ailments and whatever.
No
all of a
joke.
sudden we get together and you're like, it's all better.
Tom, I actually felt last week, I felt like I was on my deathbed. I was like, oh my gosh,
She's going
I
to
don't
see
feel
ya.
good. I have to go to the ER.
She's going to the ER. She's going to whatever.
And then this
I'm
morning he
like,
asks, you know, I get to the house, how are you feeling? I feel great. But you know,
It's a
there's
joke,
something-
but it's true. Like you
There's
had things you
something
were
about
you had
being in
things you were
community
worrying
with
about.
people.
You had things you were worrying about.
which
Look,
I still
you're a
need to go
newsmaker,
get
so you
checked
got a
up
lot
on.
of stress, a lot of
Yeah.
whatever, a lot of things going on. You're running a company, you got kids, there's a lot of different things that go on, and I'm listening to you, and it's the nature of things. Things start getting in your head, and then you start worrying. Should I be doing this? What's going on with that? Do I have this going on? Do I have whatever? And I'm saying to you, like, baby, you get it checked out, get whatever. But I think you're also worrying about some
Well,
stuff.
I just tend to forget about like my health.
Yeah.
And I put everything else.
But then
kinda,
once
like,
you do
around
realize it, then
So-
then you overthink about it. Like, oh my God, and you start like, you know, maybe this is going on, or maybe that's going on, or maybe, you know, whatever. And I said to you when you came here, because you had all these things, like, I'm not gonna have coffee, I'm not gonna have this, babe, we're gonna live normal. You're fine. We're together. We're good.
We'll still get checked.
And yeah. But I mean, like, to that point though,
Yeah.
today I'm like, how you doing? You're like, I'm great. Like, I'm whatever. I'm like, yeah.
But you know, how true is that? We were talking with our health group that we're a part of, that we're in.
Yeah.
That we're leading.
We started the Get Healthy With Us group at the beginning
and
of the year. Yeah.
Talks about community, right? And how community has a huge effect on stress and your overall, just your body, your hormones, your mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and take COVID as an example. When everyone was isolated, what happened? Everyone was stressed.
Yeah.
People were gaining weight.
Yeah.
People were depressed. I mean, all of that. So
Yeah, the only way to
sense
see a
of
person
community-
was get your 12th booster shot.
Right.
You know,
So
it's like, oh, now I can be around someone.
Yeah. So community is huge, and like, it's one of the reasons why I'm like, oh, I feel so much better because I'm here.
Yeah, you come in and it's like Teddy greets you, and I get this feeling of like when you come into the house, you're like, this is my house. Like you're just like, this is it. Yeah. We go to our stores. We go to
our restaurants.
Yeah. You get in our car.
But, no,
There's something about that. For any of you in a long distance
great.
relationship, there's just these comforts that happen. When you get with that person, and it's not just doing FaceTime or doing something like that. So. Hey guys, you're watching this episode. This episode is brought to you first off by my company, Jared James Enterprises, or I like to call it just Jared James. I don't like to say the enterprises. But look, guys, we do coaching and training and speaking and all these other kind of things to make you better. And it's funny because I've talked about for years the idea that we're in a pros versus amateurs market. And we're seeing that more than ever right now with hundreds of thousands of agents leaving the business. And so many that have such good intentions, but they're not sure how to really get there, right? Have you ever had a disconnect between what you intended to do and then what your actions actually were every day? And that's why you need a coach, right? I've been watching the news lately, especially sports news, and I'm watching major coaches getting fired. But the one thing I know for sure is they're going to rehire someone, because the last thing they're going to do is have a group of professionals and not have a coach, because they won't perform at the same level, right? And we are no different. If you're watching this and you don't have a coach, I promise you you're underperforming. So make sure you check out jaredjamestoday.com. Get yourself a coach. If you're a brokerage, let's get you into brokerage ride training for the whole office. Very affordable. We get them training they need to be a pro and not an amateur, boost their performance, boost their confidence, boost all of it. We can do all of that for you. Second place here, we're also brought to you by another one of my companies called Cleared and Closed. Again, being a pro, you're going to hear this over and over again. You need a transaction coordinator. And so we took this very serious. We believe in it so much that we're offering you a free transaction. So literally you can come in, use one of our transaction coordinators for a free transaction. They'll do a custom workflow with you, all of it. And if you don't like them, there's no contract. So go to clearedandclosed.com, clearedandclosed.com, and give the experience that your consumers want, that they want to tell somebody else about, okay? And you do that not by doing everything yourself. You do that by running an organization, by running a business, not running around, and that starts the #1 hire in every real estate business, whether you're day one or day 20,001, because there's no risk. You only pay if you actually close the file, is a transaction coordinator. So check them out, guys. They're amazing, okay? Do a consult. It'll be worth it. And last but not least, we are brought to you by another one of my companies, FyrstUp, FYRST, FyrstUp.com. If you're a broker and you're watching this, if you're an agent, tell your broker to get on FyrstUp.com. I did something the other day online, and we talked about the difference between spending money, cutting spending, and going all in on investments, because investments bring returns. And there's a difference between checking boxes and buying tech tools so that you can sound good to the agents and having stuff that actually brings you a return. And in this mobile age that we live in right now, what FyrstUp really does is it digitalizes that traditional whiteboard. The old days when you'd come into the office and everybody would talk about their listings that they have coming up, and they would talk about their open houses, and they would talk about all these things. The problem is everybody doesn't come in anymore and gather in those meetings, so that whiteboard's not quite as effective, okay? And so what we've done is we've taken that traditional whiteboard setup and we've digitized it. And so all of those listings that your brokerage has that are between the time of when they get signed to a listing agreement and they actually hit the MLS, you're allowed to promote those within your brokerage. That's completely compliant, completely allowed. And so what we did was we said, get rid of all the confusing Facebook groups and all the group text messages and everything that all your agents aren't paying attention to. We built an app, we built a tool that is so simple. Our goal is not like most apps, which is how long can we keep you on? It's how quickly can we get you off of that app. We want the agents on there less than 60 seconds a day. But what they're going to do is put all of their listings on it pre-market before they actually hit the MLS. It's going to notify everybody within the brokerage, that digital whiteboard, let them know what's coming on. It's going to buyer match, because the agents are going to put their buyer criteria in there, and it's going to let them talk back and forth about a buyer they have for it, because it's going to notify them that there's a buyer that matches. It's going to do all of this. You're going to have people, it's going to let them know if they need to assign somebody needs to do the open house for them, and so they can raise their hand or contact each other, do open houses, all of these kinds of things. Communicative tool, also one that brings ROI, double-ending deals in a compliant manner. And so this is something that every single brokerage in a 2024 world needs. And we're launching something real soon where we're only allowing so many within each market. So get on it now before it's too late. Take a chance. Go on over to FyrstUp.com, FYRSTUP.com. Extremely affordable as a brokerage. But when you talk about ROI, return investment, every single one of you at the sound of my voice needs to be using FyrstUp.com. You won't regret it. Now, another thing I want to talk about with you.
Let's go.
NAR
Oh yeah.
released a video from the new CEO.
Let's kind of like give them the timeline of stuff, like how we actually did this. Like,
Well, we were shocked already that they hired a CEO who had no real estate experience, no nothing.
which I did not even know.
Yeah.
I did not know about this. Didn't read the bio, nothing like that. I knew there was a new person in the seat.
Do you know what's funny, though, is everybody's quick reaction. I remember talking to someone in the industry, and I was like, why did they hire this? There's no real estate experience. She worked at a newspaper. Like, that's media. That's not whatever. And they were like, are you a racist? And I'm like, is this really what we're doing? Like, you can't even ask, why is this woman the head of the, whatever. Like, she has no experience, and it's immediately, are you a racist? And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Who even trained? Can we get rid of this mentality that anytime you question anything?
Let's be real. If I said that, they wouldn't have
because
responded
you are
that
a
way, because
woman
I'm a
of
woman
color.
of color.
That is
Just so you know.
correct.
But because you're a white male,
Who is with a woman of color.
and that's Middle Eastern.
Only for that reason, so I have that card.
That's the only
That's
reason
it. I figure give it a few years, then I get it for longer, whatever. But literally, like, I have someone like that say that to me, and I'm sitting here going, that was never even in my head. Like, what is wrong with you, right? But that's the place that people are at. Like, they've been conditioned to think that nobody can just think critically or think whatever. It's got to be because of whatever. And I'm like, can we leave this portion of time that has now come about? Because it's ridiculous, right? Now, having said that, the video comes out.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And I'm rooting for her because
Okay.
I'm like, all right, cool, we got this person.
Well, I was working out in the sauna, and I got in the sauna, and I didn't have my earphones in just yet, and so I came across
You sent it to me.
Instagram, and I saw NAR's video. It was literally out for an hour at most.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and remember, I did not have my earphones in, so everything was on mute.
You
And
were
I was
less
like-
than impressed, though.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like.
You saw the video, and you literally, I forget
Well,
exactly what you sent me.
I couldn't hear what she was
but
saying.
you were like, oh.
I was like, ooh. I'm like taken back, and
It wasn't friendly. There was no warmth. It was
and I was
weird.
like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like something bad in the industry is happening.
Yeah.
Just looking at her.
And it was
looking at
kind
the
of
face.
her intro.
I put my AirPods in, and I'm listening to this.
Oof.
And there's a couple of words that I was like, what? That just kind of triggered me. And I sent it over to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I said, did you see this?
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm shocked is I ran a multiple listing service for 10 years. I've sat and I'm not a licensed realtor. I'm not
Yeah.
a realtor at all. I don't pay dues to anything. But I've sat there and I've seen presidents come in and out, and I've
Yeah.
been in committee meetings and board directors meetings on a state level and
Yeah.
participated at a national level. And this was just so different from what I've seen in the industry.
The industry right now
years.
needs some warmth, some goodwill, some whatever. And then here comes Miss Read the teleprompter in what looks angry. I'm not happy. I'm not smiling. There was one point where you could tell they said, say this word and smile. And like, here's my perspective, and I don't know her, and I'm rooting for her, like whatever. Can we, as an industry, and this goes to NAR and the whole thing, can we stop propping up puppets and like making everything so robotic?
Mm-hmm.
The industry right now needs a person. They need a person, someone with warmth, someone that you feel like they mean what they're saying. They actually care. They actually love the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They love the people. They mean what they're saying. And instead, they put out this video. Then they take the video down.
Okay, so pause there. I go back to the video. So a couple hours later, I wanted to go back to the video to really like listen.
You're
to
like, let
what
me give it
she
another
had to
chance. Let me
say.
see what's going on. Yeah.
I wanted to listen, like, and not criticize the whole
Yeah.
entire video. But then it was removed. What does that tell you? When it's removed, they themselves know that it should not have gone out.
By the way, the fact that they're already being so robotic, you can tell they're being sensitive to every and so in an effort to try to reach everybody, they reach nobody because they turn into robots. And then they take the video down to make minor adjustments or whatever they said, which basically meant they got some kind of feedback, some kind of this, some kind of that. They put it back out.
No. They didn't put it back on social, did they?
Oh, you know what? I don't know if they did. At the
I didn't
time,
check.
at the time they didn't. Yeah.
They sent an email,
They put it on competition.realtor.
which I'm not a
or something
realtor,
like
so
that.
I don't get.
Yeah.
But you get it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
And
And I'm like, oh my God, they took the video down. They redid it. They cut
but
stuff.
what did they also do? They gave them talking points.
Oh, so this was the point I was making. At a time when we need warmth and personality and someone that you feel like really cares, really knows the industry, knows whatever, instead, they put up this person clearly reading a teleprompter with no warmth, no anything. I mean, I feel like I'm being chastised. Like this is, whatever. And then they send it out to the realtor base with specific instructions that if you post this on social, here is exactly what you write. And I'm going, what is happening here? Like, this is not what the industry needs. This is not, you're telling us what to say. Clearly, she's being told what to say. And it's just, I want to just shake the industry, shake and just say, guys, wake up. We need a personality here. We need warmth. We need love. We need sincerity. We need, in a world of authentic, we need authentic. We need what, and we are just not getting that. We're not getting that. It
was very interesting. And at this point, it wasn't even what she said. At this point,
although it was a little ridiculous.
I mean,
we welcome competition.
That was
talking about the potential other association being launched. We welcome competition from an organization that, by the way, you are forced to join.
And whether or not, I can't say that she made the script herself or she was told to say this. I don't know.
I'm sure there were 8 attorneys and 5.
I don't know, but like obviously it was very intimidating. Like I would not want to. Yeah. Quite honestly, like it not being a realtor and someone that owns a home and might sell or buy in the near future, far future, whatever it is. I mean, it was really much a turnoff. Yeah. But outside of that, just seeing the pattern of what happened was just like, it's a level of trust that's like kind of lost. Yeah. And why script it? Why say here is what you need to say if you're going to share it? Every realtor is bound by the code of ethics. Period. If you can't even feel confident in that. Yeah. They need to bring someone in with some kind of personality who actually reaches people. I hate to keep bringing it back to this, but it's just true. We're about to have a presidential election, and both parties prop people up and they make them say what their party platform is supposed to say. Yeah. And for whatever reason, there are certain people, and this is why some people win out and some people don't, that when they're propped up to say it, for some reason you believe it. And they connect with people. It's their gift. They connect with people. They know, how to say things. They know how to reach into whatever, and it works, right? These people they keep propping up within our industry do not reach people. Mm-hmm. Like literally just turns people off and just goes, what is this? And you're dictating to me exactly. You first put up the video, which is so scripted and so fake. Then you go and edit it because you clearly got some feedback and didn't, whatever. Then you send it back out and you go, this is exactly what you write when you put it out. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, you work for us, not the other way around. Like, we're the members. We pay for this, whatever. You're making us look bad at this point. Yeah. Like, this is not, and I love, like I said, I love the line in there when she says about the rival association potentially being started. We welcome competition. Did anybody hear that and believe that? Like, did anyone listen to that and go, well, good, they want competition? No offense. I was hoping that they actually took that part out of the edited version. And I looked back in, I was like, oh, no, they didn't. Okay. So that was fine. But it was just, I don't know who else saw that. But I remember actually looking at the view count before it was removed. Yeah. It was like 500 people that viewed it. Yeah. And then I was looking at the comments. Quite honestly, the comments were even more disturbing. You know why? Because they were all encouraging it. Oh, 100%. There's someone there. Go for it. There's someone there. And that's the thing is that it's so fake. It's like we've told agents forever. It's like we tell small businesses. If every one of your reviews is awesome, it actually has a negative effect on the public because they know it's not real. We all know that there's crazy people and they go and write bad reviews. And no matter what you do, you can't solve their problem. You can't make them happy. You can't. So when I look at your review and it's nothing but great, we know you took down the other ones. So now you have this video that you and I that are very open-minded people. Like, we're just like, we just want to know what the truth is, what's going on here. And we both watch this video and go, God, another one of these, another robotic, fake, you don't mean anything you're saying. Quite honestly, and then everybody got their marching orders and they went in the comments, fire, this is amazing, get it, girl, this is, oh my God, and I'm going, are we watching the same video?
Not one person got in here and went, really, guys? Like, this is what we're doing? But you know they did. Because
they
they
took
got
it-
people on
well,
the
they took
ready
it
in their
down.
controlled environment. Delete. Nope, can't do that. Comment's gone. Nope, out. And it's just like, can we stop the robotics? That, like, you're not connecting with people by being robotic.
I have to say, Kenny was someone that was just so inviting. My company prior to FyrstUp, even my team
Yeah.
loved his energy.
You talking about Kenny Parcell?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have photos. When that whole thing happened, my past coworkers
Yeah.
no longer with the company, but sent me photos of them. I
Yeah.
said, I cannot believe it. Night and day.
Yeah.
As far as
And by the way, we're in a
envi-
place of eating our own now because Kenny is out, and then the new president comes in, and she's there for less than a month. She's out, threats from people and doing whatever.
True.
So now we got
Yeah,
a new one, and
true.
I know. By the way, I know the new. I guess they call it president or whatever it's called. Whatever. He's a great dude out of Massachusetts. My plea to him would be, please be real. Please be personal. Please be real. Please don't be afraid of the mob coming for your head, because obviously we found that we're an industry that's what we do now.
Yeah.
Is that we go after our own, and we raise people up and then we tear them down, and we raise them up and we tear them down. So don't be afraid of the mob. Don't be afraid of whatever. But it's a sad testament right now to where the industry is at, that everybody is so afraid of their own mob coming for them that we've become robots. And
Yeah.
and it's just like, for someone who's in the industry, as a personality and somebody who just says what I'm really thinking and is okay with that and is pure in what I'm saying and whatever, it's to me sad to watch. And it is not the response right now that our industry needs. At a time where NAR is coming under so much fire and so much scrutiny and so much, it's like now they're trying to avoid scrutiny by becoming robots, which is only creating more scrutiny from your very membership, and is going, what are you doing here? Like, now, having said that, I'm not saying this because I dislike NAR. Like, we get upset with people because we love them. We get upset with people because we have relationships with them. When you go and you see that now there's, another association that's trying to be challenged, started up to challenge them and everything else, I do think that the scrutiny of NAR has gone too far, meaning they don't do anything. They don't, whatever. And yet that's not true. When you look at in D.C. and all the lobbying and everything they do on behalf of our industry,
It's a ton-
it is a ton. They're like the largest lobbyist group, in the world.
Absolutely.
Like, it's, so we can't also go from one extreme and then go to the other extreme. We have to understand how valuable they are. But that is part of my frustration, is understanding their potential and their possibility, and how right now you have a very few amount of people who are making decisions for that organization that do not serve the betterment of the potential of what that organization actually is.
So
and because
spend-
I can see what they are and what they can be and what they should be, it leads to my frustration, because I'm like, oh, you're doing what everybody does in our world today.
Absolutely.
You're allowing a few to control the many, and they're not giving good advice.
So they should be spending their time and their dollars and energy on focusing on what they provide, the benefits, what they do, the ins and outs of the organization, versus on the small.
Yeah, they should focus
few.
on their membership
And-
and connecting with their membership, and not just putting out videos because they're afraid of what the next lawsuit's going to be. So they're afraid to say anything or do anything because it's going to go to another lawsuit. It's going to go to another. And in the meantime, you're not serving your actual or speaking to your actual membership. And while you're making decisions in an effort to not be taken down by more lawsuits, more whatever, you're going to be taken down from within because your members are going to leave you. Okay? And so that's the unintended consequences of what you see happening right now.
It's learning to drown out the noise, and sometimes we get so focused on that, on that noise, and we do a bold statement like that was put out. That obviously they retracted from it, they pulled it back.
Yeah.
But
So focus on the membership, and as I said, I want to preface again here. I don't have these statements and feel this way because I'm anti-NAR. I've got so many good friends at NAR. I've had good friends taken down at NAR. I've got so many. I think that there's such great potential for NAR. I think that as an organization, at their core of what they're supposed to do, that they've been amazing. But they are allowing now, like so many things in our society, the select few that are not a good group of people to now start running things and start going for their own, and now they're eating themselves from within. like you see with many organizations in our society now. They are allowing the loud minority to eat from within and to give a terrible public persona of, you know, this amazing organization. And, you know, someone's got to step up and say enough's enough.
Yeah, before you're in it too deep.
Yeah. Enough's enough already. You know, you should be able to stand on the merits of who you are and what you've done for this industry over all this time, and not be afraid of saying the exact perfect thing at all times.
Yeah.
Because what's happening right now is they're reading so many teleprompters that they're saying so much politically correct stuff that they're saying nothing at all. You know, and when you're saying nothing at all, you're not speaking to your membership. And the membership is very smart. So when they see these videos come out and they see your eyes glazed over, you know, we just go, God, another one, another freaking robot. The robots have taken over, you know? And I think I speak for a lot of people in the industry when I just say enough's enough. The industry right now needs a leader with warmth. They need a leader who will speak to them, who cares genuinely, and isn't afraid of making a mistake, because we don't need perfection. It's okay if you make a mistake, but if you're going to allow that loud minority to come in and eat someone up every time they make a mistake, well, then you're going to keep getting people who are afraid of making mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay? But we don't need perfect. We're not bringing Jesus back from the dead again to come lead the industry. We just need someone who actually cares and is willing to admit it when they make a mistake, but has the industry's best interest at hand, you know, and has the network and knows people and is on the ground, and, you know, like that's what the industry really needs.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway,
Interesting.
let's talk about, because we spent a lot more time talking about that than I think we expected. I'm going to save some of our talking points for another podcast, which tends to happen. But let's shift just a little bit right now.
Okay.
And let's talk about from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Okay.
Why do you think people want to become entrepreneurs?
Oh, they want to be their own boss.
Yep.
Make a ton of money.
Yep.
Do their own time.
Let me start over.
I mean, like,
why do you desire to be an entrepreneur?
Quite honestly, I hated school, and so I dropped out of school. I only have a high school diploma.
Yep. I don't think most people know that, by the way.
If that's even worth anything, I don't even know. Yeah, high school diploma, and my resume is based off pure experience.
Yeah.
And so everyone would think that I have a college degree, maybe even a master's.
Why, you have big debt? I'm just kidding.
Zero.
Because that's what comes with a college degree
I know.
nowadays.
No, but like it's funny that we're talking about this, because I was like, you know what? I don't like school. I don't want to sit here. I don't have the attention span that I need to sit here and do it. And I actually would leave all the time to snowboard. So Grayson would probably appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I just all I knew is I wanted to sell. I wanted to do big things.
Yeah.
But I also knew that one day I'm not going to work for someone.
Yeah.
I want to work for myself. I saw my parents juggling multiple jobs growing up.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to provide and give back.
Yeah.
In order for me to do that, like sitting in school was wasting time for me.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
And so I jumped into only sales. I jumped into sales, which I thought I was terrible at. But for me, it was like building relationships. I'm great at doing that.
Everyone's in sales.
Absolutely. I love talking to people and finding a solution for their pain point. Great. What do you want to do? Lose weight? Let me help you. I started off as a personal trainer. Then I went into sales with, back in the day, it was Pac Bell, then Singular, then AT&T. So I did that, launching the first Razor phone ever, right? First flip phone, thin phone, first Bluetooth, right? And then
Remember that Bluetooth came out and it was like, what is this?
It was like a flashing thing in an ear. It's like, what is that?
What is this magicianry?
No, having to explain
this?
Bluetooth
This
was
was
difficult.
wizardry. Like, what was this?
But like I just had this God-given ability and gift just to kind of grow and thrive from there and just build up. And I knew that I had a gift that could take me beyond being an employee.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's all. But by the way, it's all different skill sets, though. So like, I personally believe. So like, entrepreneurs become cool and everything else. But the truth is, you're only happiest when you're in the place you should be. You know, like I won't name names, but we know people right now who are trying to be entrepreneurs, and I'm like, you're not an entrepreneur. Like, you're not going to be happy doing that. You live in a world of society that's telling you to be an entrepreneur. But you're actually an awesome number 4, or you're actually a great employee who's going to do much better. You're going to be happy. You're going to have the security you desire. You're going to have like whatever. Like, this whole one size fits all thing, it's back to those extremes. You're all the way over here, you're all the way over here. My thing is not that everyone belongs to being an entrepreneur. Everyone belongs to be, work for a company. Everyone belongs, whatever. So no. Where do you belong?
Yeah.
Because we all have different things we have different gifts. We have different things that make us comfortable. We have different things that we desire. We have different, for someone that their main thing is security. Yeah, entrepreneur is not for you. You know what I mean? You're just going to have full-time anxiety at all times. You know what I'm saying? But then for someone who, wants to have, the world at their fingertips and have the chance to be, well, then, yeah, you're not going to go be a teacher.
Yeah.
And do 2% increase it's just not going to happen, right? And so the beginning of it all is just understanding who you are, what your skill set is, what you're actually after, and stop listening to all of the chatter on the outside about what you should want for you, which is what most people fall into.
Yeah.
They hear from other people who never made it or, who wish they did, and they vicariously live through.
I mean, the idea of being an entrepreneur is, it's nice, like, to hear and go into that. But, man, startup life?
Yeah.
The first 1 to 5 years of startup life is rough. And I had to do it twice.
Yeah.
The same, I had one company, 4 years old.
Yeah.
Boom, went under, out of my control.
Yeah.
Right? Second, and I had to redo it.
Yeah.
So now it's like, wow, like, I'm going into another... I'm in year 6.
Yeah.
Really, but my company's only so months old.
And by the way, here's
here's
the difficult part for people to understand. That rough never stops.
No.
It's new problems. Like look at what just happened with Meta.
Oh yeah.
Right. So look at Facebook.
Instagram, WhatsApp.
So you
Meta.
have Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah.
Who's one of the richest men in the world now, but obviously starts off, tries to build a company. There's all sorts of heartache and everything that you'll never hear about. But now he's hit a different level of issue, where now he's sitting before the Senate.
I know.
Going, I'm one of the richest people in the world. And he's getting grilled by Ted Cruz, the senator, there are things on Instagram, Meta overall, where when you're going to somewhere that has, I think it was like borderline child porn, and before you get there, there's a little thing that pops up, and it's like, are you sure you want to go there? And here he is, one of the richest people in the world. I built these amazing companies, whatever. And he's getting grilled by Senator Ted Cruz, as he should be, going... So if they just click yes, they can go on through to that child porn off of your site. So you're admitting that you know it's there, but then you're going to allow them to go through because you warned them it was there? Do you feel good about that? What % of people do that? How many pedophiles do you have on your site that are going through and doing what? And it's like, well, here's a different level of, even when you think you've made it, the scrutiny just gets higher and higher and higher and higher, which obviously that's not Zuckerberg's intention. I don't care. Like, everybody tries to demonize him, whatever. I don't know him. I'm sure that's not his intention.
Yeah.
But my point is, it's even when you, quote unquote, make it, the scrutiny just gets higher, just gets more, That was, I don't know if you saw that.
It was wild. Well, I did see him turn around and apologize. Like, families that were out that were in there.
I didn't see that.
Holding up their kids' photos. I don't know if it was like a part of the abuse. I don't know.
I think that had more to do with mental health or like suicides or something that came from.
That's
which is obviously not his intention.
No.
Yeah.
He's a father.
Yeah.
Like, it's not his intention.
Right.
But like, I can't. You are right. Like, imagine there's a level of stress when you first start, and the more you grow, more more eyeballs on you. It's a whole other level of stress. Employees,
the great prophet
another level of
Mace
stress.
back in the 90s said it. Mo money, mo problems. Okay? It was prophetic. Okay?
Yeah.
But I was about to sing the song, but I'm not going to.
Okay, so entrepreneur. When did you aspire to be one? Have you ever wanted to be one? Did you ever think that you'd be in a position where you're at today?
My whole life, entrepreneur. My whole life. Yeah, I won't go into it all. People have heard my story for the most part, but my whole life.
Why don't we
I did events for years, and I talk about it when it comes to being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is somebody who works 80 hours a week, so they never have to work 40.
Absolutely.
So when you hear me talking about some people are not built for that, and by the way, not some, most people are not built for that. What we need to do is make sure that we are crafting the correct message to potential entrepreneurs so that they understand that if all you're after is free time, limitless vacation, freedom of schedule, finances, whatever, entrepreneurialism is not for you.
Not at all.
It's like when someone comes into an interview and the first question they ask is, how many weeks vacation do I get? This ain't for you. Like, we're already, Check,
Yeah.
please. We're done, right?
Yeah.
If that's how you're looking at it from an entrepreneurial level, because being an entrepreneur means I do get to make my own schedule, which means I work more than you by choice.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. Like, I can technically check out. I can do whatever the hell I want to do. Like, whatever, right? And part of that is that I now will book men's trips and, guys' trips and go to Tulum, whatever. But I'm up working and doing it, whatever. Like, it's like being an entrepreneur means I can make my own schedule, which now it's just my fault that I work more than you because I'm choosing to do it. But I want to do it. I have to do it because this is the life that I've chosen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being an entrepreneur means that you are choosing a life where, you could take a back seat. Yeah, you could just, take a break. You could just whatever. But you don't because you know that it's not how you're built. Mm-hmm. But you want to be rewarded for what you are putting in.
Absolutely.
So unlike if I was an employee built how I'm built, where I would still be constantly working and constantly doing things, constantly whatever, and I wouldn't get the reward according to what I was doing. That's why I had to go into, because I needed to be rewarded on the level that I, deserve to, or to fail based on the level that I deserve to. Mm-hmm. Both of those are absolutely true at the exact same time, right? So being an entrepreneur is basically saying, hey, I get to make my own schedule, which means it's just my fault when I work more than everyone because I choose to do it.
It'd be so interesting to look at like data behind, I'm not even sure if it's out there, those that have startup.
Yeah.
And those have literally pulled out, and those that were able to make it, based on entrepreneur mindset and discipline, and all of that.
Yeah.
Because there's times where you just feel defeated. Money coming into the company just goes back into the company.
Times, my God.
Just goes back in.
Majority of the time you feel
you don't
defeated.
pay yourself as an entrepreneur, CEO, owner for a very long time.
Yeah.
And that could be defeating in itself.
Yeah.
And so
Most of the time is defeating, by the way. Most of the time you feel defeated. Like entrepreneurs have a different gear. Successful entrepreneurs have a different gear. What it takes for them to feel, not successful, but to feel security, to feel, that's even the wrong word. It's like the scale that we operate on is different. We're not looking for security because we know it's not there. Mm-hmm. It's like that's not where it is. Security, in many cases, from a growing entrepreneurial perspective, is actually a bad thing because it keeps you from pushing. It keeps you from, which is the complete opposite of most people, Mm-hmm. So being an entrepreneur means understanding right off the bat that you're different than everybody, and that's okay. Yeah. Accepting what comes with that, and then still getting frustrated with yourself when you feel the feelings you feel and going, I knew I was going to feel this. I knew it was going to be tough. Why do I feel like this? And pushing forward anyway. Right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what an entrepreneur does. An entrepreneur is not always right, is not always wrong, an entrepreneur just keeps moving. They just keep moving. Like that's the life of an entrepreneur, and that's not for everybody. Right? Like I said, they work 80 hours a week so they never have to work 40. They understand that they're different. But it is not a life that most people should live. Mm-hmm. Like it's
many aspire to be. Right.
Yeah.
But
entrepreneurs they're like bad addicts. It's like they just can't help themselves in the sense that, if you've ever been around a drug addict, it's like they just keep ruining things. They just keep, and for like an entrepreneur, it's like every time things are comfortable, every time things are good, they're like, nope, we're going to do this now. Nope, we're going to add this. Nope, we're going to whatever.
Yeah.
And, if they're with a spouse or they're just coming, no, we're good now. Can't we just, it's like, no, I don't have that lever. Like, I don't have that in me.
Literally don't have that ability.
Yeah. I need to be pushing. I need to be, So anyway, life of an entrepreneur. Anything else we want to talk about? Because you and I have a bunch of promos to shoot.
No, I mean, we talked quite a bit about things. I would like just this one thing that we kind of came across was this article about, we mentioned the percentage of college applicants have dropped down enrollment.
This is such a joke. Such a joke.
Yeah. So like, what's your take on like the headlines?
So guys, college enrollment is down. Shocker. Biggest scam of all time. I mean.
Well, yeah. I didn't go to college. I didn't finish my college.
Hey, here's the deal. You're going to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And real quick, you have a master's degree?
No. I have a. Back when I finished at night. I have a bachelor's in marketing. And I did it just so one day I would have to tell my kids they had to go to college.
There you go.
My thoughts on this have changed a lot since then. As far as, look, college has become, my God, think about this for a second. The government will back your loan. no matter what kind of degree you're going for. So I'm going for, creative arts, whatever. I'm going to give you, no matter what, just the fact that you're going to college, I'm going to give you a loan for $400,000. If I went for a business loan as an 18-year-old kid, they said, well, what business you want to do? I don't know. Well, how are you going to pay us back? I have no clue. I don't have a job. I don't have anything, whatever. Well, here you go. Signed and approved. Here's $400,000. What do we do for college? What do you want to do? You want to go do a liberal arts degree? You want to go get a political science degree? You want to go get how much? Okay, that's that much money. Stamp approved. Here you go. By the way, never get rid of it, even in bankruptcy. Backed by the government. There's no getting rid of this. There's your loan. Imagine if college loans were business loans. Would they ever approve 99% of them?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. That's how you know it's a scam. It comes from the government. You can't get rid of it, even through bankruptcy. You have to pay it back at interest over years. You're enslaved forever, and it doesn't guarantee. And so you read this article, college enrollment is down. Duh, McFly. Because it's a freaking scam. Like, it's only a matter of years before it just starts tumbling because everybody starts looking at it and going, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Like, this doesn't make any – and here's the funny part. In the article, all we hear about lately is how we need blue-collar workers. We need all these people, right? Now, I'm going to guess the writer of this article is clearly a college-educated, some elitist that, you have to have had this many degrees to speak with me. I am so important, and I'm so learned. That's how they talk. I'm learned. Okay, and they said, the implication of fewer college-educated people, however, means that over time, the United States as a whole could face an economic downturn, as it gives rise to many more blue-collar workers. So on one hand, we need more blue-collar workers, but, oh my God, these people aren't going to go. How are we going to function if everyone doesn't start with $400,000 in debt? How will we function? Yeah. Okay? This can irrevocably, whatever, alter the makeup of the workforce needed. Despite current unemployment rates being among the lowest they've ever been, the American people are already starting to see a shift in the labor market. Okay. Despite current unemployment rates being at the lowest rate they've ever been, how's the economy right now? The economy sucks. Like, inflation is through the roof. People don't have money. So the idea that it's bad for the economy for people to say, I'm going to skip on a few $100,000 in debt to start off my life so that I'm actually a slave the rest of my life because we got rid of slavery, but now we're going to modern day do it where you are a slave to us and you can't get rid of it. The fact that we're going to get rid of that and say, I'm going to forego all of that debt, and I'm going to go be a blue-collar worker where maybe I'm a plumber. Maybe I'm something where I actually have a little bit of control over what I do, so necessary, so needed. And I don't know if you've looked at the hourly rate on these people lately.
We were just told yesterday that over here it's your minimum wage is $19 an hour.
I had a guy come and snake out my sink. Took him, if I round up to the nearest minute, 3 minutes, $250.
That is wild.
I'm like, I'm in the wrong career. This is like, whatever. But the economy is going to fall apart if we don't keep serving these indoctrination houses called colleges and keep bringing them through and doing, it's such a joke.
Okay, but listen to
I
this,
saw
though.
this and I'm like, this is a joke.
So the article continues. So what can employers do when the makeup of the workforce starts to shift? So, Jared, this is what you could do.
Oh, God, this is great. Here
Employers,
we go.
Employers, if possible, you need to offer higher salaries with fewer requirements.
Hold on. Let me just make sure I got this.
What?
Just came out of COVID.
Hold on.
Nobody works. Nobody comes into the office. Everyone wants how many weeks vacation as soon as I start. Everybody wants whatever. Higher salaries, less requirements. We already see all these companies laying everybody off because we had this epiphany. When you pay a bunch of people full time and they don't work, it doesn't work. So this article says the way we fix it, even higher.
Okay,
and less requirements. They shouldn't have to be held accountable.
It is so funny. I am the result of someone that worked for that was under a parent company. My company was under a parent company that literally lived by this.
Yeah, and went
we
out
are
of business.
going to
went out of business.
Pay people over what they actually should, and not even require them.
And require less.
You know what? They should be a CEO. Although
It's your right.
Although they have the experience of a barista.
Yeah, it is your right.
Here we go.
It is your right. If you went to college,
This is wild.
Wait a second. If you went to college and got alcohol poisoning every weekend, and a lot of other things I'm not going to say right now.
Yeah.
but you're no spring chicken for your next spouse. And you go through all of that. Well, it is now your right. Because you can come in and go, look what I got. And by the way, here's the funny thing. They won't fail people at these colleges. Because once it became a business and mommy and daddy are paying $100,000 a year, you're not flunking my kid. You're not flunking my kid. I'll take them. I'm not going to pay you anymore.
Yeah.
It became a business where for this amount, you give them this piece of paper, come hell or high water, whether they're showing up at class or not, whether I paid for this. And that is we are in the season of entitlement.
Yeah.
and I don't want to hire those people. Like I should give them higher and expect less. Can you expect any less than post-COVID?
The generation coming in, I mean, it's all about, what are you going to offer me? I want remote work.
By the way, though, a lot of that stuff,
I want
though,
high pay.
yeah.
But I mean, like a lot of it is even being enabled. Like it's happening.
But it worked 3 years ago. Now, how many times have I said to you, all those kids that jump around every 2 years because they watch their Instagram videos where they say, you got to go to the next place where they'll give you more money. If your current one won't do it, you got to get 10% more. Go to your next place. Go to your next place. Go to your next place. And that's what they teach. I see all these videos, and I've talked to people that we've gotten rid of or they've left.
Yeah.
And because they watch these videos, I got to keep jumping. I got to keep jumping. I got to keep jumping. And they don't pay attention to the long-term effects. Eventually, you got to pay the piper. And eventually, you're going to go to employers, and they're going to go, 7 employers in 10 years?
You're just not the commitment type.
Yeah, we're good.
Why would they
We're
invest
good.
in someone?
That works when you're
Thousands of
22 and you're on
dollars.
your third place in 2 years. Because you say, I'm trying to find myself. You know, I want to move up. There was no room for movement. There was no.
Yeah.
And everybody falls for it. They're like, maybe. You seem like you put a sentence together. You have a degree. You have whatever. When you start hitting 30, 31, 32, and all of a sudden it's like 10 companies? 10 companies? Yeah. Yeah, we're done. At that point, you become.
That's
you know what you
crazy.
become? You become Leonardo DiCaprio's next girlfriend. You know that at 25 you're out. Because there was a while there where every girlfriend who came in was like, I'm going to be the one that changes him. I'm going to be the one that he's going to settle down with. He's had all those models. I've seen it. But I'm going to be the one that changes him. And one after another, they went from 24 to 25. Good day. 24 to 20. Good day. 25. Good day. 25. Good day. After a while, if you're one of those models and you're 23, you've got 24 months with him. And then you're done. Because history is what history is.
Yeah.
It's real. And so employers after a while start to wise up and go, wait a second now. You're jumping around a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's what we're looking for. And so you're getting advice from people online and otherwise who have never had to live out that advice themselves. And they don't know the long-term effects, you know?
Absolutely.
And they're going to see that it doesn't work out long-term, you know, for happiness, for growth, for any of those things. Eventually, you got to pay the piper, you know? So there's an interesting
crazy.
example. DiCaprio's girlfriends. So yeah, our economy is in trouble because we're actually creating more blue collar workers who aren't starting off their life with $400,000 in debt to the government. What a take.
I know.
Seriously, what a take. It's amazing to me. Anyways,
I couldn't let that one go, so.
yeah, I wasn't
There
going
we
to talk
go.
about it. There you go. Anything else we need to talk about? We got videos to
we're
shoot,
good.
guys. We got promos to shoot. We discussed a lot on
Yeah.
this. All over the place as usual. I love it when we get comments from people about the podcast and they're like, you know, I listened for whatever and I don't hear the thing yet that was in the title. So let me just explain this to everybody right now, okay? There's
If
what's
they
called
get
a
to this point,
podcast.
if they get to this point.
There's what's called a podcast, and there's what's called an Instagram reel, okay? An Instagram reel is 60 to 90 seconds. Whatever that thing's titled, that's what's getting talked about. A podcast title is about 7 to 10 words. Everything we talk about over the last hour and a half, 2 hours, I promise you is not in the title. Instagram reels, you listen to for a real quick, hit me with whatever. A podcast you put on while you're in the car, while you're working out, while you're in the shower, and it's going to go all over the place like any conversation would. But I promise you it will not be summed up in the 7 to 10 words that make up the title of this podcast.
There we go.
I want to just caption that and just send that out to everyone, okay? Anyway, anything else to say?
Nope, that's a wrap.
Miss Newsmaker.
No.
Big shot.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, I have to now. I mean, you're like running the industry now.
I'll send you the invoice.
Big shot, okay? If you guys get a chance, go on over. Linda Yacoub. Say congrats to Linda. That's a big deal. I know it's a lot
FyrstUp
of work,
also.
a lot of, very cool. Yeah.
Perfect.
So we love you all, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, depending on how you're doing this.
Yeah.
Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're sharing it with people. If you're loving it, let us know. If you're not, you don't have to tell us.
Don't waste your time. Just kidding.
But we love doing it, guys. So
Anyways.
thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Good day.
See ya.